Welcome one and all to episode 31 of Pocket Edition. We are back after a week off. Pretty much we were all just a little bit shagged from E3, so we took a little bit of a break, but we are back, and today I am back with Maximol, who actually attended E3. How are you, Max?
Woo! Max is good. Tired.
He's kind of good. Tired, yeah, I bet you are. We spoke about this earlier, but Max is still on the E3 grind, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how much work actually goes into, the journalistic side of E3 once all the conferences are actually done, because the show still goes. There's still a lot to see, isn't there?
Oh, that's when all the big stuff happens, actually. To be fair, our site does do things a little differently just because we're a smaller team. We do a lot of the coverage after E3, whereas some teams do coverage like during it as well as after. Obviously, we cover the conference and everything
like on the
during.
fly.
Yeah, but most of our team was at the show, and we sort of see it more as when we're at the show, we're getting appointments, we're talking to people, we're meeting with them, etc., and then writing about it after the show and everything like that. Whereas, so
that makes sense.
Yep.
Now, specifically today, though, we are here to get all of your thoughts and hear about Cyberpunk 2077 and their, I believe it was a behind closed door demo for the press, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, I know you probably have a buttload, mammoth amount of stories and things you want to share about E3. Unfortunately, Max will not be doing that here today. He's actually going to be doing that on Joe Chip's Chip Chat podcast, which we'll have linked down below in our description box. That will be going up hopefully within a week. And the reason for that is, well, Joe Chip and his Chip Chat has a much larger format and time allowance because it's going to be a hefty episode. I'm sure Max has a lot to cover. So please be sure to check that out. When it does go live, Joe will be promoting it on our Twitter and in our Discord, so please check that out if you want to hear all of Max's thoughts and adventures at E3. But today, Max, let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077. That was probably, in my opinion, one of the crowning jewels of E3, up there with Death Stranding and Last of Us. It was one of the big ones.
Yep.
So set the scene for us. What was this behind closed doors event? Who was there? Give us some of the personalities. That's what I'm very curious about. Like, who were you rubbing shoulders with? Did you see anybody?
In my session, no. I know that there was a lot of... we actually got very lucky with this. A lot of the people we knew didn't even get a meeting with Cyberpunk. We got lucky because we do a lot with Evolve PR, which is this recently established team. I think they're about 2-3 years old now. We do a lot with them, and they're promoting Cyberpunk, and they're doing the PR work for Cyberpunk. So we do a lot of work with them. So I think that's part of why we got in with them and everything like that. They're a wonderful platform, by the way, wonderful PR company,
nice.
Everything like that. So so we were able to get in with them. Again, in our meeting, I didn't really recognize anyone. We had about 35 people in the room and everything like that.
Oh, wow. It's pretty big then.
Yeah. But it was press only. They didn't allow any public or anything like that, which is interesting. And basically, they took us... It was, for the most part, it was a pretty traditional, press only thing, to be quite honest with you. We were walked into a room after waiting for 20 minutes in this waiting room, talking to people and everything like that. And then you walk into a room and there's a screen, and there was a hands-off demo where they basically showcase the game for an hour and talk to you about it. That's it's a pretty normal thing, to be quite honest. But
pretty standard behind closed doors event. See, I was under the impression that when you say behind closed doors, it'd be more of a larger event where they'd kind of do more of you in one hit. So that's interesting that they kind of break it up. I'm guessing that's for Q&A reasons, right?
It can be. If you have to plan that ahead of time. Really, I think it's just an easier way to do it, and it's also usually for games that are pretty early on that they don't want to show a lot about. Like Dying Light 2, we did the exact same thing, and that game is still a long ways to go. So I think that's usually more the case, and it's they obviously don't want to show the footage or anything right now. I know...
See, that was my next question, just out of curiosity, is if they're having these behind closed door events, why wouldn't you just show it? if it's ready to be shown to the press, why wouldn't you just show it to the general public? Is that because, they want you guys to do all the positive write-ups and see the positive side of the game? But, if it does have issues, you guys are probably more accepting and forgiving that, well, this is a work in progress, rather than the general population who will see issues and not recognize what's going on, or kind of judge it more critically because we're not educated in the same sense that journalists are.
That's pretty much the reason why. And also because
okay,
there's a lot of people who like call out like downgrading and everything like that, like that happened with The Witcher 3, even with CD Projekt Red's last game. Like the graphics were greatly downgraded from when they showed The Witcher 3 off at E3, and it's like they can't predict that years ahead of time. Like you just can't predict that. Like there's gonna be cuts made and everything, and the public goes crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
They call for fucking death threats with that shit. So
it's insane.
Yeah, that's a big reason why, honestly, is because they, they want us to look at it objectively. It's obviously a work in progress, and they know we understand that. And if you don't, you're probably not a very good journalist.
Exactly. Whereas, armchair, critics can't necessarily sit there as objectively as what you can. It's your job.
Exactly.
That's interesting. Okay, that's what I thought. But Max, let's get into it. What are your impressions of Cyberpunk 2077? Where do you think it is in kind of its overall progression between now and ship? When do you think ship's going to happen? What is this game shaping up to be?
Okay, so...
A lot of loaded questions, but this is it. Get on the train, start rambling.
Let's see. Cyberpunk was one of the greatest things I think I've ever seen in the world of video games. I will definitely say that. And that sounds... sounds like hype. That sounds... But everyone I talked to afterwards, like my colleagues and everything that got to see it, they all agreed. Like, it's very hard to put into words what we saw, especially writing. Like, I'm still struggling with my writing, with my write-up on it, because it's, like, very difficult.
Yeah, we should actually, when you get that up, we should link that as well, so people can go check that out too.
Yes, that would be fantastic.
That'd be very cool. For those that don't know, which I'm sure you are if you're listening to this episode, Cyberpunk 27, the pedigree behind that is CD Projekt Red, the same guys that brought you the Witcher series.
Yep.
So if that doesn't paint the picture for you, I don't know what will.
It's literally, the headline for my article is Cyberpunk 2077 is the reason I play video games. Like, it was just, I've been comparing it this way. I've been describing it like the Blade Runner aesthetic, right? Like the type of Blade Runner world, like Cyberpunk, like futuristic type of world, but with a very gritty... there's this indie game called Observer that I'm a really big fan of. I actually reviewed it over at the Coalition, but I know it didn't get a whole ton of press, but Observer is like a very like dystopian, like corporation-owned future. Like the corporations took over and people like live in slums and like it's very dirty and grimy. So it's like that overlaid over the Cyberpunk, or overlaid over the Blade Runner aesthetic, but very colorful, which is very, very interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's interesting.
And then gameplay is like Titanfall. It's like Titanfall, but with like deep RPG mechanics in a world as detailed as The Witcher, just like chock full of things.
Now, when you say Titanfall, I think the first thing people are going to think of is wall running, jetpacking.
Yes. All that stuff.
All that kind of jazz.
Honestly,
is that present?
Yeah, all of that is. Honestly, like the gunplay, like aiming a pistol looks straight out of Titanfall. Like if it was a screenshot, I would have told you Titanfall. Okay. There's a lot more to it, of course. That's just what we were shown.
Let's just wind it back a little bit. Can you... How long was this demo?
It was 50 minutes to an hour, give or take.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, well, do you want to maybe give us a little bit of a brief rundown of what actually happened? And maybe you can detail some of the game mechanics as you go? Because I'm sure they specifically took a slice to demo mechanics and visuals and all that kind of stuff.
And actually, what I heard later is that the slice they showed us is like nothing compared to the full game, which is absolutely insane because this slice is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. But so essentially, I know I'm hyping this up a lot, but it's ridiculous. But
you heard it here first. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm not one to hype things up like this. Usually, I'm pretty damper on things like this.
No, you're not.
So,
yeah.
But anyways, so Cyberpunk essentially it takes place in a world where there is a mega corporation that has taken over. I can't say I remember the name of it. Actually, they may not have even told us the name. But anyways, this mega corporation basically owns the world. People live in just like cramped ass apartments, or like they're homeless. And then there's of course the rich, which are like hitmen and like people from the underground and stuff like that, like people who are super rich who like get their money illegally, and then there's like the big company that you can work for that doesn't care about anyone and just cares about money and like control and everything like that. You know what
it kind of reminds me of? Like kind of what a setting could have been for that Star Wars 1313 game.
Yes, I could see that. It's similar to that, actually. Yes, exactly. That's actually a really good point. So basically, you get to create your character, and you basically play as a rebel in this sort of world. Basically, you're making your own way. You do a lot of odd jobs, a lot of underground, like illegal stuff, like hunting people down, retrieving things like that, retrieving like illegal items from people, stuff like that. You play as a mercenary, essentially.
God, Max, you know what I'm getting now? I'm not going to interrupt after this, but you know what I'm getting now? What I'm channeling?
What?
That cancelled Prey project. Remember the original Prey where you were a bounty hunter and you'd take like jobs?
Yeah, I do remember that, actually. That's actually really interesting.
God, why did that not become a thing?
Hey.
Anyway, sorry, Max. I promise to the audience I will not interrupt anymore.
No, you're good. It helps
me
me think. It helps me recall a lot of this because this was a couple weeks ago now. So, yeah, basically you play as this mercenary. You don't really have any ulterior motives, at least in the demo they showed us. I'm sure that there's going to be some path that like takes down the big corporation and everything like that. But the point is that you can live in this world however you would like. And you play as this character. Basically, you start out, the demo starts where you're just getting this job done. Basically, you're recovering an android for someone's paying you to recover an android. I don't think it was really that important. It was just more of a way to show off.
And this could just be a side quest, right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was just a side, if not like the tutorial quest. It was essentially just like an odd job, just showcasing like gameplay and everything like that. So the gameplay at first was like pretty standard. Like it looks good, like it controls well and everything, but it's just first person like run and gun gameplay. Like you could shoot through walls. You could take, I believe there was a cover system, and you could just like aim over it and stuff like that. And you had like a pistol and like a machine gun and everything like that. So it was pretty standard, but it was like really visually striking. It was really cool and it was really tight. There's a lot of parkour elements and everything involved, if I remember correctly. Like you can do vault. You're very mobile, which is nice.
Would you say it's more like Mirror's Edge or something, more so than Titanfall, or is it like a mishmash of both?
Could be like Mirror's Edge as well. Yeah, I'd say Mirror's Edge and Titanfall control pretty well, but Titanfall controls much tighter, I would say. But then basically that ends, and you get paid for it and everything, and then you're kind of just shown this world. There are 6 districts. The district they showed us was pretty... It was like colorful, but there was a lot of dirt over everything, and the people here were... This is definitely like a lower class area.
So these are like class districts?
Yes, yeah. And they said there are going to be 6 districts, all of them very big. There's going to be like a rich district, like I'm sure middle class.
Super cool.
Yeah, there's, they're going to have all that sort of stuff.
Now, question, Max, just to quickly pause you on the districts.
Yeah, of course.
Out of curiosity, I don't know how much they detailed, but obviously this is a open world RPG, correct? It's not a linear experience.
Not at all. It's entirely open world.
Do you think you can position your character in this world to be able to live in these different districts?
Oh, I'm sure.
If you so desire.
Yeah.
See, that's okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm sure. Yeah, you have a house and everything. He didn't really show if you could decorate it, but there's a lot you can do at your house. Your house is like your little hub. She has this little apartment.
Like a bat cave thing.
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
But a big thing about the world here is that everyone has these augmentations. Like, it's normal to go to like a shop and get like an augmentation, like
Deus Ex.
Yes, a lot like Deus Ex. Yes, in that regard, that's a big comparison people have been using actually. So like it's completely normal. Like you walk into a tattoo shop and get a tattoo. It's like that sort of thing. So you go and you buy some augmentations and everything like that. Like everyone has them. Some of them are really cool. They allow you to slow down time or just like increase your mobility. He didn't go too much into those, just more showed that they were a thing, which was really interesting. So I'm excited to see how those play out in the main game. But basically that happens, and then that's just you living a day in the life of this character. And then you go to sleep. And then you wake up the next day, and you are contacted by, like, this bigwig in the underground. Basically, he's heard about you, and he's like, I want you to work for me, but here's this job that you have to get done first. So basically, he wants you...
So you're a sort of up-and-coming, I don't know, mercenary?
Yes.
Is that kind of what you
Essentially.
are?
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what you are.
You're making a name for yourself. You're like a young Han Solo or something.
Yes, exactly. I don't know if this is like the path you have to go, or if this is like story related, or if this is just a side quest. It felt like it could be either, which is really cool. But so basically the job is to recover this really powerful weapon for this dude, right? And he offers to pay you for it, of course, and he says there'll be more work. Basically, this is it. If you do this, you've made it. You'll be rich. You'll get like steady work and everything like that. So you and your partner, you go on this job, and he the guy giving you the job recommends, he's like, hey, you can actually go and talk to this business lady if you'd like as well. Like, she has some inside information on what's going on there. She used to work for the company that makes this drone. So you could talk to her if you want. It's entirely optional. Or you could just go to this other mercenary gang who has the drone and like see what's up and see how it plays out. So that sort of showcases like the choice-based system. The choice-based system, it's very in-depth. Like, you can go entirely violent. You can try and be very peaceful. They give you all these different options, which is really, really cool.
Okay.
And like they lock out, like obviously if you go the peaceful route, it locks out a bunch of different options. So he chose to talk.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Regarding the choices between, very bad and very good, is there like a morality system that plays in? Is it just purely locking options if you go too bad or too good?
Not that I remember. I don't remember talk of a morality system. I think it's more just like you have to deal with these consequences, and these consequences will also reveal themselves much later.
Okay, they change story and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it's very short-term,
Gotcha.
long-term differences.
Interesting.
I don't believe there's a morality system. Yeah, I think that goes against what they want, because they want you to like do what you feel is best.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so at this point you get in a car, and then it's kind of like, it's like GTA where you can drive around and everything like that. The driving looked fairly linear, to be fair, from what they shown, but I think that's just what they showed. Like, it was basically a straight line, like, not a straight line, but a straight path there.
What is that? Like, what is the driving? Are these like flying cars?
No, you're on the ground.
What are they?
You're on the ground.
Okay.
It's literally just like GTA.
Is there flying cars?
I don't think there was. I don't remember, actually. I don't think there was.
Where the fuck is my flying DeLorean?
There might have been, but remember, we were in a lower class district, so it's possible that they can't afford
on
them.
The ground.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
But basically, the driving looked very similar to GTA. So they drove to the business lady, right? And this lady is like not to be trusted. So your partner like stays like, or it takes like this like perch way high up and like overlooks the situation in case like guns come out or something, while you go and talk to this lady, right? And this lady has like a kidnapped dude from the company, and that's how she has this information.
Shit.
Yeah. So basically, you're talking to her, and your choices are either to shoot her and start a gunfight, to try and save the guy as well. And the guy's like, this girl can't be trusted. This girl doesn't know what she's talking about. So basically, you can either choose to be violent, or you can choose to try and just like talk your way out of the situation, or you could choose to do her bidding, which is she gives you this card that you can, she gives you the credits that have money, and she basically allows you to buy the robot. She wants you to buy the robot for her instead of for the guy that you're working for. So basically, you could choose to screw over the underground leader, but I'm sure that if you do that, there's a way to like lie to him and make him seem like you got the robot for him, and then somehow later like he finds out you didn't. So that's sort of the choice.
So it does feel very Mass Effect-y.
Yes.
I mean, I say Mass Effect-y, but I'm assuming The Witcher was like this. I actually haven't played much of The Witcher, so I can't remember. But you get kind of these extreme choices, then grey area choices as well. Mm-hmm. Obviously the extreme choices being like very proactive and violent, and the good being more of a passive, helpful type, and then there'd be a weird in between. Like, is that how the whole kind of interaction system is going to unfold, do you think? Or are there opportunities to just stroll in guns blazing before even entering a conversation?
You could do all of that.
Like environment. Okay.
It's whatever.
So if I wanted to go in and I heard about this chick and I wanted to just shoot the mission in the butt because I wasn't feeling it, I could just stroll in, pop one in her head, and that shuts down that whole quest line.
Correct, but that was only an optional part of the quest line. So you'd still go to the mercenaries, and you'd probably just end up stealing it, or you'd find another way to get the money to buy it. So yeah.
Very cool. So there is a complete freedom of choice.
Yes.
You don't have to enter a conversation every single time.
Correct, yeah.
If you already know what you want to do.
It's also really cool, too, because there's an option, at least in this prompt, there's an option where, like, you're holding the gun at her already, because, like, guns were out and they're pointed at each other and you're just talking out. You can just hit fire. It's just like you would shoot at her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really interesting. Yeah.
Not mucking around.
They didn't do that, but it would be cool to try. And
yeah.
So basically, you agree to take her chip, which has like she tells you has money on it to buy the thing, and she also wants like information and all this other stuff. So you're already like blurring the lines here. You know, it's like, oh shit, you have two
absolutely.
people that. So yeah. Anyways, then they so it ended up glitching out. Actually, there was a bug. The demo froze, and then they relaunched it right outside the mercenary base. So they go into the mercenary base, and like everyone's on edge right away. They're like, who the hell are you? How do you even know about this robot and everything like that? You could choose to go guns blazing right away, or you can just like sort of talk your way through it, and you just be like, hey, I work for this guy, and like everyone knows his name. Excuse me. And everyone knows his name, so like when you mentioned what they did is they said they work for this like underground leader, and they mention his name and they say he wants to buy the robot. Here's 100,000 for it. So they're like, oh shit, okay. And everyone's still on edge, but like I don't remember the exact conversation very well, but basically you talk yourself out of it, and you give them the business lady's credit or like card, right? So what they end up doing is they take the card, they go to input the credits, they like insert it into a system, and it ends up shutting down like all the electricity. There's like this explosion and all this shit happens. So basically the lady set you up in a way because I guess she wanted the mercenaries to just be taken down completely. So they go guns blazing on you because it obviously seems like you're in on this. Yeah. But the thing is, they've already hooked you up with the robot to show that it works. So, like, the robot's on your side.
Oh,
so, you're fighting...
Is this a little companion dude,
yes,
is it?
it is. And it can do basically anything. Like, it just, like, crawls through vents and just, like, sits on the ceiling and shoots things and everything like that. And it's controlled, like, through your eye.
Alright, so little companion things confirmed.
Yeah. And so, basically, It's controlled through your UI and everything like that, which is really, really cool. So, there's, like, all these gunfights and everything. And this is where they start showcasing... like the augmentations, like the wall running, the parkour, and everything like that. Like you can get these. These were shown in I think one of the 2013 trailers, actually, one of the old ass trailers. There's these like blades that come out of your arm, and like you could hang on a wall, and you could just hang up there on a wall with these blades. Yeah, and they use some developer tools to give your character these augmentations, just so they could show some off to us, which was really really cool.
Nice.
So they went guns blazing, they killed a bunch of people and everything, and then they went like stealthily and were just stealth killing people, and then they ended up getting to a boss fight, and the boss fight was cool. It was just like another traditional boss fight and everything like that, but it was like, again, a tutorial mission, so it was a really cool boss fight.
Now, in terms of like this augmentation and all your options and, you know, stealth versus extreme violence and just kind of the gameplay mechanics, what did it more feel like? Are we getting like a mixture of like Titanfall meets Deus Ex or something?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way.
What did that feel like to you?
That's a pretty good way of putting it, actually. The Deus Ex, especially with a lot of the RPG elements, stealth and everything, but like when you go guns blazing, it's a lot more like Titanfall. To be honest, I haven't played a ton of Deus Ex, so I don't really remember how like the combat feels, but stealth-wise, yeah, totally. It's similar.
Okay, cool.
From what I remember. So, yeah, it's a lot like that, which is really, really nice. And again, it's all in first person, which is cool. It's very hard to even see the resemblance from The Witcher. Like, one of the only resemblances I saw, it's obviously in the same engine, but is like text coming out of people's heads and everything when they're talking, just like when you're walking around and everything, just like the text coming out. That's what they would do in The Witcher.
That was one of my next questions, was like, how much of this is a drastic departure from The Witcher? Like, they're very different games, obviously setting-wise, but, you know, this is a first-person shooter versus third-person shooter. It's set in a completely different world. It's using completely different game mechanics. You know, if you looked at this game, do you get any vibe of this is by the Witcher creators? Has anything transferred over, or have they completely created a completely unique feel and experience separate from The Witcher?
I personally didn't think there was much similar at all, but to be fair, I haven't played The Witcher. I put like 60 hours into The Witcher, and that was like a couple years ago now. But from what I remember, no, it's not very similar at all, which I like, because to be honest with you, I don't like The Witcher as much as everyone else does. I like it a lot, but it's just open world games aren't my thing. I don't know.
Yeah, same. I appreciate them, but I'm not going to pump hundreds of hours in.
Exactly.
Although that might change with Cyberpunk 2077.
Exactly.
It's sounding amazing.
And that's the thing. Cyberpunk's like the game since Final Fantasy 15. I haven't played an open world game and enjoyed it since Final Fantasy 15. And before that, I can't even tell you the last one. It was probably The Witcher 3, to be quite honest. So, yeah, that's the thing. Like, Cyberpunk will definitely change that, I think. It made me want to play an open world game again. But, yeah, I don't notice many similarities. Like, I'm happy to report that it's not just The Witcher in the future. It's very different.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
RPG, which is great. So, yeah, that was fantastic. So basically, you fight the boss. You go back to the lady... And
Jesus.
Yeah, you go back to the lady, and basically you say like "fuck you" to her, and she's like, "What? You still like got everything done?" And basically she was just a bitch about it. And you give her some information, and then she gives you some more money, but you keep the robot. And then you could have like killed her, obviously. Like there are other things you could have done, but that's what this person chose to do. And then they went back to the guy and told him that the job was done, essentially, and he was just like, wow, that's fantastic. And I believe they give him the robot. I don't remember exactly, but and then it just like kind of ends. But I believe that you could have like decided to kill him instead, like with the robot and everything like that, and you could have like went rogue with the robot. But I'm pretty sure you end up giving up the robot by turning in the mission like that, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it was crazy. It was really, really cool. And again, it's like the type of game that actually will bring me back to open worlds. Like I want to get immersed in this open world. I didn't really get immersed by The Witcher or anything. This is definitely my type of game. The setting.
This is my setting. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. This is my setting, like that dystopian kind of just like, oh, the world is hopeless, everyone sucks, like everyone's in it for themselves type of thing. You're just kind of like making your own way in the world and everything like that. You're just like this badass mercenary. And I'm really, really excited for it. Like, again, it's hard to put into words what we saw because we haven't really seen anything like it. Like, there's not much to compare it to.
Is it just drastically unique and fresh? Like, is it just doing a lot of new?
There's a lot that we've seen, but it's like refined very well. But it's how it's packaged, and there's a lot of like just potential. It seems like for the first time, this potential that we always see in these games is actually going to be delivered on, like The Witcher 3 was.
Okay, so you look at Cyberpunk 2077, right? And in comparison to, when you see these experiences, I'm like, well, why didn't they just do this? Or like, you could have improved it here. You get all the nitpicky stuff that would have legitimately improved the experience. Do you get that with Cyberpunk, or do you look at it and go, okay, I see exactly what they're doing here, and it is the definitive, best possible version of this kind of genre/experience?
Oh, definitely the second one. Like, it's ridiculous. Okay. It's ridiculous how much... That's a great way of describing it, actually. It's ridiculous how well it is. I wish I could put it in better words. I just want people to see this gameplay.
You need to see it.
Because even some of the things I said, it sounds somewhat generic. I understand that. It's just like, the way it was presented, the way it all feels, like you said, the way it's packaged, combined with the setting, and just the potential for everything they've shown, it was just next level. It was just upper class. Is like nothing we've seen. And I honestly don't even think this game is coming out this generation. If anything, it'll be cross-gen, but I think it's next-gen.
I think that's absolutely what's going to happen.
They said they're targeting this gen, but I think they're just not allowed to talk about next-gen, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, absolutely. They would be so tight-lipped.
Yeah.
But I guarantee Microsoft and Sony are knocking on their door. I'm like, this needs to be on all of our future systems.
Yeah, there's no way in hell.
There's no wiggle room.
Yeah.
We want this selling boxes of old, of new. We want all of our fan base to get this game, and it's only going to help you if you do it.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be able to run well on old consoles. I really don't know. Like, they ran it on PC, of course.
Okay. So perhaps the original Xbox One and the PS4 base models are going to be chugging at 30 frames per second with cutback visuals.
I mean, that happened with The Witcher 3, to be fair. The Witcher 3 runs terribly on both original consoles.
Does this look significantly better, though? Like, I understand they're very different aesthetically, but is it significantly better?
I think it's more what they're going for in terms of world and depth and just, like, little details and things like that. Like, yeah, it looks really good, but it's still, like, early on. It's not early on, but I think they still have a lot of refinement to go with, like, graphics and performance and everything.
So I'm going to put this in a very, like, amateur way, but is it more art direction aesthetics, or is it, like, a realistic, like, take on a world? Or is it, like, a mixture of both?
It's a mixture of both. Definitely. Like, it's gritty, it's realistic, but, like, it still has, like, the like, if you want, you can make your character look straight out of, like, Rage 2 or, like, Borderlands. or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's still in this like very gritty, like Blade Runner-esque world in terms of like politics and people and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think when you start playing with more like kind of art direction being your kind of visual cue rather than going for a realistic depiction of a real world.
Yeah.
When you do the earlier option, I think that's when you can kind of squeeze these experiences onto kind of hardware and surprise people, like the original Xbox, the Xbox One, and the base PS4. But I mean, I'd imagine that I'm pretty confident that this experience is going to come to those consoles. Yeah. I can't see this experience coming to the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, and also being on the next iteration of those consoles, and then the original buyers of the Xbox One not getting this experience, when technically, right, at the moment, the way we view them and the way the population views them is that the Xbox One and the Xbox One X is the same generation. So if they miss that experience when it comes to the X,
Phil said so.
There's going to be a lot of pissed off people, dude.
Phil said that they would all be playable on there, and that's true. That's a fair point. But like, it will be like a terrible version of it. It's like The Witcher 3 was playable on Xbox One, but like barely. I think it's better now, like after a couple of years of patches, but like that game runs terribly.
Absolutely.
And you're getting a very inferior experience if you do so.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a point in time where the Xbox One stops getting games and the Xbox One X still gets games, and then the console after that gets all the games.
They're going to keep that.
That's going to happen, but
it's going to be like phones.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just can't see that because this experience is on the nearish horizon, right? Like, it's a year or two away. In a year or two, we will probably only just be either getting or hearing about the next set of consoles. So it's not just going to come to the Pro or the X.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. But I mean, in your opinion, though, to lead into the next question, is how far along did this game feel?
Oh, this felt like this could have been the final game, aside from like the crash.
Wow.
Straight up, this felt like I mean, obviously the slice they pick is very polished and everything, but they've been working on this game since 2012, 2011. Like, the trailer was back in 2013.
Blood and Wine came out, right?
Yeah, because the trailer was back in 2013. And obviously they were working on things before that. So this game is further along than we think, but I genuinely think this is going to be like, this is going to top, and people see The Witcher 3 as like the pinnacle of gaming in a lot of ways. I think this is going to top that. I think they're actually going to top that. And I'm not the only, like, it sounds like me just saying shit, but everyone else that saw it thought the same thing. Like, everyone else was saying the same thing.
Wow.
If you saw Twitter during it won literally every, like, best of award. Like, they had walls decorated with, like, best of IGN, best of this, best of that. Like, everyone's agreed. Like, this isn't just me pulling shit out my ass and just saying that to hype it up. Like,
wow.
I'm happy that other people are agreeing, too, because I felt that way.
Yeah.
When
Look at the pedigree behind it, man. It's insane. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, this could have just been a super polished slice of the game.
Of course.
But would you imagine that next E3 we get the full general public reveal?
Oh yeah, I'm sure before E3. I'm sure that they'll.
Wow.
I just hope they release this gameplay slice to everyone. I just want this to be seen by people. Like, I hate that no one can see this.
The internet's gonna go nuts, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense why they don't, and I think it's a very good thing that they don't, business-wise, but it's just like, it's so hard to describe. Like, even with people who have seen it with me, we were having trouble describing it to other people. Like, it was just, you had to see it.
Yep. Now, there was obviously no talk about release dates yet, specifically, what systems it's coming to. It was all kept relatively vague. Is that correct?
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that. I know, like, IGN put an article saying that they're targeting this gen. But in terms of release, there wasn't anything like that. Not much of a window, but I mean, educated guess would be 2020, 2021.
Really? Wow, that's a lot further off than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I would hope for next year. I think next year, though, is like, that's being like really hopeful.
Really?
Yeah, I doubt it.
Wow, okay, so I would have thought Christmas next year or something.
It's possible, but I think that it's just with games like this, there is so much refinement that needs to go into it and bug fixing and everything, They're not going to put themselves in a weird can. Yeah.
We're like, all right, this is when it's coming.
Not going to be a Bethesda game.
Interesting. So maybe an early 2020 game, hopefully.
Yeah, I really think that's going to be the case. 2020, maybe even holiday 2020. Honestly.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Wow.
It just,
okay. So
it just felt like that type of game where it's like, what they show us is impressive, but they have a long way to go.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, right? I mean, we're so used to the Bethesda approach where we're like, all right, we here it is, we showed it, and now it's out in 4 months, right? But when you think about Cyberpunk, we had that teaser trailer. and then nothing for ages. And now we finally got a behind closed door look at the game.
Yep.
And, you know, they're probably going to go dark for a little while again.
Oh, yeah.
And then the next one will be the big public reveal, and then it'll still be, you know, all right, well, it's close, but it's still only on the near horizon. Interesting. Okay. All right, well, something to look forward to. I mean, 2020, 2021, that totally puts it in the realm of the new consoles.
Yeah, that's the other reason I think it's coming out next gen.
So maybe they are targeting, maybe they will launch it around the same time that this current gen is at max capacity in terms of install base, and it will be almost a launch title on the next consoles.
Well, it's going to be like...
I could totally see that happening.
It's probably going to be like GTA, where GTA 5 ran also pretty shitty on the 360 and the PS3, and then it came to next gen, like a year or two later? It wasn't right away.
Yeah.
So I could
see
I
hope it doesn't run shitty. I hope it at least comes 30 frames per second locked or something.
I mean, it didn't happen with The Witcher, so I can't imagine it'll happen with this.
But
like the PS4 Pro and the One X, it'll run fine. But
yeah, I was gonna say, when you look at the power difference between the One S and the One X, like, it's astronomical.
Yeah.
Astronomical.
It is.
I don't imagine. I imagine that Xbox One X is going to run it like butter, whatever gets thrown at it.
I'm sure the X will be fine. The X will have no problems with it. I don't think at all. It's the original Xbox One which is still the majority of the user base that has an Xbox. Is the original Xbox One. It's going to be
very interesting. Very interesting to see how it runs there.
And then even the PS4, I think it'll be bearable on the PS4, but just barely. On the PS4 Pro, I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah. And then PC obviously will be fine. But yeah, it's interesting.
I hope my old 1070 is going to be okay.
I mean, I think they'll optimize it well. Like, I think it'll be available on a range of systems, but just like you can only do so much with a world like this, I feel like, without compromising the vision.
Wow, okay. Well, I'm excited. Thank you, Max, for just sharing all. Like, this is probably the most in-depth look I've had at Cyberpunk 2077, like, period.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. It's been very interesting.
Of course.
Have you got any final thoughts you'd like to throw into the mix?
Again, just like wait for gameplay. Like, this shit's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait for more people to see this.
Alright, and obviously there's no news on when we're going to get to see it again, is there?
No. I have a feeling it'll be before E3.
Tight.
I could be wrong, but I think that it'll just come out one day, honestly, like a gameplay trailer or something. I think we'll just get it next year at some point.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be one of those types of things, and then a big reveal at E3 after that, and then we'll probably get a release window, and then, you know how that works.
Yeah, absolutely.
This isn't going to be one of those games that doesn't come out, though, and, like, gets delayed hella. Yeah. I don't think that's the case at all. Like, they know what they're doing.
They're on the ball.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. It just takes a long time to make this type of thing, but it's like GTA. It's going to come out, you know?
Oh, dude, they're going to be like the next Rockstar once this thing drops. Yes. Like, they're going to be that pedigree studio that builds big open worlds.
Exactly.
Watch out, Rockstar. Fucking watch out.
Exactly.
Keen. Hella keen. Super keen. So, I mean, as per usual, guys, let us know what you think down below in the comments. I know it's kind of hard because I'm going to assume 99.9% of you haven't seen it like me, but maybe drop us your wish list and kind of iterate and drop your thoughts on what Max has shared today. So let us know what you think. Like I said earlier in the episode, Max will be joining Joe Chip for an episode of Chip Chat in the very near future, I think, where he'll be detailing... But basically, they're going to be detailing all of Max's E3 experiences. You'll be able to find that episode shared or retweeted on the GameCast Twitter. We'll be sharing it in the GameCast Discord. If you're not already in there, you'll find the link for our Discord down below in the description box. So please be sure to check out the Chip Chat episode when it lands. And we'll also link Joe's YouTube channel down below in the description box as well. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe if you've enjoyed this episode of Pocket Edition. And we'll see you in episode 32 next week. Have a good one, guys.
See ya.